It's Friday, and you know what that means? That means this is going to be the last Friday without real football for what? Till February? Till the Super Bowl? Woo! Boy, get excited because the time has come for 49ers football to be back. Let's get hyped. It's Friday. Hope you guys are having a phenomenal day. Getting ready for the weekend as we prepare for training camp coming up. Let's get it. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. What is going down, sourdough squad? All 70,000 of the gang. Shout out, represent, right on time for the beginning of a brand new season. This is the last Friday without football, guys. Like, we made it. Congratulations. Round of applause for everyone who survived this offseason. Shout out to you. I mean, today is just so emblematic of the offseason coming to a close. We have people on Twitter arguing about a Kyle Shanahan quote about the quarterback said in March, talking about like he said it yesterday. We have Jalen Hurd updates. Oh boy, get excited. Training camp is here. And my God, we made it. Thank you, football gods. It honestly was the longest offseason on record, at least for me. Am I heading 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22. Am I heading into year 7? No, I think I'm technically heading into year 6 of doing this, heading into year 3 of full-time doing this. What a wild offseason it has been. Absolutely. We had a crazy offseason last year, all the Debo Samuel contract stuff. This year, nonstop quarterback conversations, literally just rehashing, regurgitating the same things. Unbelievable. We made it last Friday. Last Friday, because we get football on Wednesday. Football begins on Wednesday. I will be in Santa Clara on Wednesday for practice. I'm so much looking forward to just getting back to football. This is I know you guys are with me. Off-season fatigue has been real. And this has been an off-season for the books in regards to all the different conversation, talking points, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But we made it. Last Friday, we're going to celebrate. I'm going to enjoy every last second of this remaining part of the off season as we get ready to head down to Santa Clara next week to watch 49ers football. We get to watch potentially Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, Sam Darnold. Now, we don't know. So far, the good sign right now is that Brock Purdy hasn't been put on PUP. We had our first rounds of designations released this week. We know Darrell Luter Jr. will start, as we expect, on the PUP list, but he should be able to be activated at any time when it's good to go. So far, with Brock Purdy, we don't know just quite yet if he will be able to be cleared for practice, like everything's good to go, or if we will find out if Brock Purdy lands on the PUP. We don't know. And again, if he does land on the PUP, not a big deal, because if he goes on active PUP, Brock would be able to be elevated and start practicing right away. PUP means he still can attend meetings. He just can't participate in warmups. He can't participate in individual drills, team periods, 7-on-7. He can work off to the side. That's all that means. He'd still be able to do everything else with the team. Again, be in meetings and everything, just wouldn't be able to be a part of practice. So there's no word yet. So no news. I've been saying this for a while. No news about 49ers quarterback Brock Purdy is good news, because no news of setbacks, anything. So that's a good sign. I like it. I like not hearing a single thing about Brock Purdy. I like not seeing normally give me all the videos. Normally give me all the hype, give it to me. I want it, because I'm a deranged 49er fan just like you guys. I want to see everything leading up till training camp. But with Brock Purdy, I'm okay with not hearing a single thing. And so let's see if that continues. Do we hear anything from Brock Purdy? Any updates? I told you this I think earlier in the week. I expect the Brock Purdy update to come on Monday. We talked about this. It's how the news cycle works. Right as teams are starting to begin training camp, Monday feels like a perfect day for a Schefter, a Rappaport, a Mayoko, someone to come out and say, this is the current status update with Brock Purdy and what to expect heading in to training camp. So be prepared. We don't know just yet, but no news is good news. I'll take it. I'll take no news right now with quarterback Brock Purdy. But that's not the only quarterback we're going to be watching out for. We're going to be watching out for Trey Lance. How does Trey Lance look? And again, what does the pecking order look like? What does that look like? We talked about that pretty much in depth yesterday as well. The other thing that we're going to be on the lookout for is Nick Bosa's contract extension. We got a defensive end paid earlier this week. That was Highsmith from the Steelers. He got a solid contract, but again, nothing in the range of what Nick Bosa will demand. So it is going to be fascinating to see when that will come out, when we'll get news. But I have really no concerns with that happening. Keeping the Face says, Brad, do us a favor and let us know if they allow fans to bring footballs and large helmets for autographs. Last year, they did not. First time ever. That's interesting. I didn't know that. So you can see that big football helmet. That's an actual size. I've brought that in the past. But ever since I started covering the team, I stopped bringing things to get signed because I treat it like I'm working. But back in the day, I think 2019, I brought that helmet. I had no problems with it. But again, things could have changed. So I'll keep an eye out. Normally, you can bring the small helmets. I don't got a small helmet in the vicinity. But that's a good point. Footballs need to be deflated. That's a good point. So just keep an eye. I remember, though, I think it was like 2018 or 2019, a fan stole one of the players' helmets from training camp, which was wild. They still let us bring them in, but they had to put like a tag on it, and they were checking everyone's helmets and all that stuff. So obviously things change. But if I catch wind when I go on Wednesday, I, of course, will let you know. Again, from a fan perspective, what you need to know in regarding all that type of stuff. That feels like a spam. But Steve says Bosa at 32.5 million. I think that's fair. 33.5, 34. I would say 32.5 is right there. in the ballpark of a per year average for Nick Bosa. Absolutely deserved quarterback money. Pay the man. Let's get him on the field. Again, not really worried about Nick Bosa. If he practices, if he doesn't, it's fine. Just get it done and don't let it creep in too much into the preseason or anything like that. I'm sorry, we're not doing spam around here. Appreciate you though. So we'll see. We will see. Hurd to the Texans. Good for him. Wish him the best of luck. Shanny found his Hurd 2.0 with Isaiah Winstead. Can't wait to see what he can do in preseason. So if you guys didn't hear earlier, Jalen Hurd has been back in the news. We got Jalen Hurd. Let me get that out the way really quick. We have Jalen Hurd trying out for the Texans. That's very interesting to see. Jalen Hurd getting another shot in the NFL, and obviously with the coach that he knows, DeMeco Ryans. DeMeco Ryans was on the staff when Jalen Hurd obviously was playing and drafted for the 49ers. One of the most hyped players in recent memory. I mean, this guy was on the roster for felt like 3 years without really playing since that preseason game against the Dallas Cowboys, where he had 2 touchdowns, one over the middle, and then jump ball to the corner left end zone by 49ers legend C.J. Beathard. Haven't heard a whole lot about Jalen Hurd at all since he was released by the San Francisco 49ers. I figured he was done with football. But I think it is cool that he's getting another shot. I talked about this on the video that I posted. I'm never going to come after a player for injuries. I don't think a player who is their legacies, their future, them providing for their families, all wrapped up into their profession, ever want to go out and get injured. I don't think that's ever something where a fan's like, or a player's like, you know what, I'm gonna get injured because I'm not gonna try hard. Like, that never happens. So I never keep that energy of like blaming a player for injuries. Obviously, it's unfortunate, and we do know the name of the game is availability is the best ability. And if you're not available, it makes it really tough for you to do anything and have success and provide for your family at the NFL level. So again, I don't hold injuries against players like it's something that they did personally against me. I know there are fans that will. We've had fans in our fan base send death threats over injuries. People get really weird about player injuries. I mean, you've seen it with Javon Kinlaw and other players. That's just not something that I subscribe to. It's not something I condone. It never will be. Football is 100% guaranteed an injury sport. You're going to get injured. It's just a matter of when and how much pain you can play through and how much luck essentially you have. So guys like Jalen Hurd getting an opportunity, good. I'm glad. You never want to see guys' careers cut short due to injury. I mean, think of Joe Staley, think of Patrick Willis, think of Chris Borland. These are guys that, we never got to see their full potential because they were dealing with injuries or they were concerned about injuries. So with Jalen, I understand there's a lot of hype about Jalen. There was a lot of excitement with what he could provide, but at the end of the day, man, it just didn't work out. He couldn't stay healthy, and I hope he can find another opportunity somewhere else. I mean, I posted as a question on the video that I posted, just as a hypothetical question, but like, how wild would it be to see Kyle Shanahan pick up the phone and, hey, Jalen, let's give it one more shot. Could you imagine? Could you imagine Kyle Shanahan bringing Jalen in for a potential tryout, bringing him on a 90-man roster spot, maybe bringing him on the practice squad, something like that? That would just be wild. Just considering all the ups and downs surrounding Jalen's time with the San Francisco 49ers. But it would absolutely it would be wild, right? It would be absolutely wild. Also, one of the things that I'm excited about is we don't have to argue about Madden ratings anymore. I you know, I'm always going to take Madden ratings with a grain of salt. It's not an end all be all type situation for me personally. Um, but I did find it kind of funny that not one player was a 99 with the San Francisco 49ers. Nick Bosa, defensive player of the year before, wasn't. Uh, Trent Williams, the best offensive lineman arguably to ever play the game, 98. Like they put a 99 offensive lineman, but it was Zach Martin from the Cowboys. Like Zach Martin's he's a good offensive lineman. He's a good guard, but like what? You just didn't want to give Trent a 99 again? Like wild. Christian McCaffrey 96. It's I still think could have been in the range of 97, 98, but still not bad. George Kittle 96. They'll never give him the 99. Apparently, that's just not going to happen. Fred Warner, best linebacker in football, 96. Like they don't even have Fred Warner rated as a top 10 tackler in Madden. Like what? Have you ever seen Fred Warner miss a tackle? I really don't know. Like I know it happens, right? Guys miss tackles, it happens. But has he ever missed a tackle? How is he not rated as a top 10 tackler by Madden's metrics? Like Madden, the best thing that Madden has going for them is marketing. That's it. Their game is trash. Honestly, as someone who plays Madden still right now, I still play Madden. Like I still play Madden because I'm football obsessed. That's just what it comes down to. I love the game. So the games that I play, when I do get opportunities to play video games, I will play Madden because I like building out franchises. I'm a franchise mode guy. And what Madden has done to franchise mode is atrocious. The lack of updates that they put into that game is hilarious. It's like you got two different scenarios with Call of Duty and Madden. Call of Duty over updates their game. They're constantly putting out new maps. They're constantly taking away things of the game that people actually like in the name of updates. They over update their game. And then you got Madden who under updates. It's wild. It's a wild scenario, but they both have similar outcomes where the user base is just fed up. The user base is fed up with Madden and the lack of updates that they provide. The game has seemingly gone backwards. Fun story. Madden, EA themselves know their game is not good. Like I back in the day, I was a project manager. We were doing a project at EA. We were doing it in their kind of championship arena where they do their live streaming and they do their championship series and stuff like that. We were building out sets and all that kind of stuff. When you see the little player spots where the guys sit and they compete, they have two Xboxes. And you're like, why is there two Xboxes? Because there's two Xboxes because one Xbox is connected to the back room where they have two guys mirroring the game that they're competing against so that when the game glitches, they can cut on a live stream to the other Xbox to ensure that the game the whole stream doesn't die because the game glitches out. I thought that was the wildest thing. Like in EA's Studios. Like in EA Studios, they have 2 Xboxes, and I was like, "Why do you have this?" And they're like, "We have to mirror the game in the back so that when it glitches, we can swap to the game mirrored in the back and they can keep playing." I was like, "Oh, your game's that bad." Like we're in EA. We are in EA's headquarters right now. I was like, "That's wild." That that your game is that bad that you I was like, I still buy it though. I still buy it. So what does that say about me? I still buy the game. I still play it, but I'm also just a football degenerate. So that's what it comes down to. But I always thought that was hilarious. About that whole scenario, the game and what they do. And anyways, tangent over. Little behind the scenes right there into Madden and their game and everything that they put into it. Apparently, this is like a make or break year for Madden, so we'll see. I'm gonna buy it. I'm a unfortunately, I'm gonna buy it, but that's also I'm a weirdo and I like football too much. Um, so that's what I do. I'm a sucker for franchise. Ever since they took NCAA away from me, I've been stuck with Madden. NCAA was the best football game. Can't argue with me at all about that. But he says, "Don't do it." I know. I got a problem. I got a problem, man. Like I still somehow find a way to support Madden, even though I'm so tired of it. At the same time, we'll see. We'll see what the updates look like too. He says, "I buy them too. We could be suckers together." Listen, I don't like it, but I still buy it. Good for you, standing your ground. Um, Standing your ground. I'm for it. Absolutely for it. But again, I'm just excited that after this weekend, we're going to have real football to talk about. We have real things to discuss. Um, all these, again, I think today was like the perfect kind of example of what this season has been is that somehow a clip from Kyle Shanahan talking about the quarterback situation from back in March is making the rounds on Twitter today. And it's just uh but everyone's talking about it like Kyle Shanahan just said it. And I'm just like, what? Like why are we talking about something that happened 4 months ago when Brock just had surgery? We had no idea what the outcome was. I don't even know if it was before they signed Sam Darnold, after they signed Sam Darnold. Like there's literally a possibility that this video that people are talking about right now could have come before they signed Sam Darnold. So we understand there a lot has changed since March. So I find it peak off season that somehow a clip from March made its way onto the timeline and people are like treating it like it's brand new. And because Kyle Shanahan said nothing's set in stone. So obviously we understand what it is with 49ers fans. They have decided that you can only like one quarterback. And if you don't like one quarterback, then I don't know, you can't sit at the table or something. Like there's just weird energy around the 49ers quarterback situation where it's like you can only like one person. Um You can't like both. You can't like all three. You can't be patient and be wait and see. You there needs to be these like hot takes about like what's being projected out, and it's just like, man, just we're so close. We're so close. Wednesday, we'll just be able to see with our own eyeballs, and then from that point, we can just take it day by day. I think we've all made it clear where we stand with the 49ers quarterback position. You can have a rooting interest for Trey Lance. You can have a rooting interest in Brock Purdy. I don't know if there's anyone who has a rooting interest in Sam Darnold, but guess what? You could have a rooting interest in Sam Darnold. Dare I say, you can have a rooting interest in Brandon Allen? Who cares who you like? At the end of the day, what we're hoping for is that the best man wins. The and is starting for the San Francisco 49ers. That's all it comes down to. With the 49ers quarterback situation, that's it. And it feels so simple. Like, obviously, we're trying to make sense of the pecking order because that's the one thing that is really hard to discern right now, is because obviously Trey Lance was the starter last year. You signed Sam Darnold to a contract worth upwards of 14 million. So that raises some eyebrows. And then you have Brock Purdy, leader in the clubhouse, but coming off UCL. And then, hey, Brandon Allen was the primary backup to Joe Burrow last year. So the 49ers have a lot of quarterbacks. And I think people are just trying to understand like what the pecking order is. And you've heard a lot about Sam Darnold, Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, and it's just like this ongoing cycle of like trying to be like, see, I told you X player was going to be the starter. And it's like, dude, we don't know. We just don't know. But be patient, because on Wednesday, we take our first step towards knowing. And when it happens, we get to watch it play out. How I think the 49ers have really tried to handle this, obviously, they've set it up, they've expressed how much they like Brock Purdy. Rightfully so. Won a lot of games, played really well as a rookie, and just had the unfortunate surgery. So they haven't been definitive on where he's at. Obviously, they've basically alluded to Brock Purdy would be the starter if he was available and healthy. Okay, that's fine. Brock Purdy gonna have, or excuse me, Trey Lance has improved, looks good. 49ers like what they see from what we've heard. Even what we've seen, you can see that Trey Lance he looks more fluid in his throwing motion. Good, great. Um, let's see how that translates into training camp. And then Sam Darnold. They like Sam. We know that. Kyle likes Sam. We know that. What is that going to look like in training camp? We'll find out. We know Trey and Sam were splitting reps in OTAs. They're probably going to split reps in training camp again. So we'll see. No, we don't know what it's going to look like. we just don't know. So we'll find out very soon. And that's one of the most exciting things about this training camp, about what we got moving forward, is that, 49ers get to start answering these questions in a couple days on Wednesday. When we get these guys out on the field, we are going to find out. We are going to find out the season-long debate. Man, I remember getting on live after the NFC Championship game. We had this conversation, and I talked about how I was not looking forward to this offseason because based on the status of Brock Purdy's injury. Because if we found out that Brock Purdy's injury was like serious, which it turned out to be, that would mean that throughout the entire offseason, it would be nothing but hypotheticals, potential Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, turned out to be Sam Darnold. Like, remember, I talked about it on the post game live after the NFC Championship game. I was like, man, I just hope it's not serious, because if it's serious, it is going to open up the door for nonstop quarterback hypotheticals. Who's this guy? Who's that guy? And that's what we got. It's what we got. But at the end of the day, we're almost through it. We're so close to being able to say that we can put it behind us and start talking about football again. That's what I'm looking forward to. Let me know in the chat, what is the thing that you're most excited about to hear about, to see from 49ers training camp? What are the things that you're most looking forward to coming up? It could be whatever. It could be the quarterback competition. It could be seeing your favorite player. It could be watching certain depth spots. Let me know what you're looking forward to seeing most of all in the chat from this upcoming training camp. I am curious to see what you guys are looking for. Alex says practice completion percentages. Unfortunately, if you're looking for practice stats, I'm not your guy. I'll be focused on evaluations. That's about it. We'll probably reference some other people's stats, every once in a while, just to, put a baseline out there. I know people eat up the completion percentage stats. I remember people were screaming at Jackhammer because he just listed the completions and didn't mention which number of them were drops. I was like, dude, this is crazy. Like, it's just a crazy world we live in. Like, that a guy was like, okay, Trey Lance went 6 of 7, for a touchdown. And Sam Darnold went 5 of 8 for 2 touchdowns. And people were screaming at him because he didn't list which one, like how many drops there were. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, I'm not dipping my feet into those waters. There'll be plenty of people who will be out here putting out those types of stats. I'm not going to do it though. Danny says the rookies earning a spot on the team, definitely going to be something that we're watching for. They got 2 tight ends that were drafted, 2 linebackers that were drafted. Obviously, want to see what's going on with the undrafted free agent guys. Does a guy like Deshaun Jameson step up as an undrafted free agent and put a lot of pressure on some of these guys? It's going to be very interesting to see. Michael says line play. That's where I'll be hanging out. I will be watching O-line, D-line for a lot of it. But again, I'll be keeping my eyes on it all. Of course, going to have to keep my eyes on the quarterback. We know that's going to be number one. People are going to want to know quarterback updates. How are they looking? Who's doing what? So of course, we'll be talking about that. Brian says, I need an Ayuk highlight on day one. Yes, I'm looking forward to Brandon Ayuk, man. I think Ayuk's gonna cook. We know Ayuk's gonna cook. That's not even a take anymore. It's just like common knowledge. Like, we know Brandon Ayuk is gonna go out there and go freaking crazy. I expect him to be pretty much every day last year. Brandon Ayuk was the best player on the field. He was going crazy. He was going 100% every snap, and it was a ton of fun to watch. Uh, Mo says, looking forward to seeing some of the young guys come into their own. Womack, Jackson. This is going to be a fun year for second year players. It's always fun watching the year 1 to year 2 transition and the year 2 to year 3 transition. Year 1 to year 2, you're looking for those kind of practice squad guys to see if they can take hold of that roster spot. For the year 2 to year 3, it's those guys that have been on the roster that are typically fighting for potentially starting spot. So I agree. It's always, we know what the top end guys look like, right? We know the top end guys are going to be good. We know the Trent Williams, the Nick Bosas, the Fred Warners, the Dre Greenlaws. We know those guys are going to be doing what they do. It's the For me, it's the rookies and second year, third year players. Those guys in that little chunk, because that's where a ton of development is happening. Um, as you guys know, I'm big on development. So I have a hard time pigeonholing young players unless I have just this ultra strong conviction, which happens from time to time. I will be convicted on a player early that I think is either phenomenal or really bad. It happens, and I believe it, and I will tell you when that happens. But there's also instances where you can see potential, and you can see also that that potential isn't being realized. So you kind of wait. You got to wait and see sometimes. Sometimes guys don't realize their potential right away. They don't come into the league and just, especially in a Kyle Shanahan offense, just hit the ground running. That's why I think guys like Danny Gray, Tay Martin, second year guys like being talked about here, Womack, Drake Jackson, a guy like Kalia Davis, Marcelino McCrary-Ball going from year 1 to year 2. These are guys that I'm very excited to see, because you see glimpses, like even Jordan Mason. Like we saw enough glimpses to know what Jordan Mason was, but how much does Jordan Mason improve from year 1 to year 2? What does Elijah Mitchell look like going from year 2 to year 3 after dealing with a ton of injuries? What does Ty Davis Price look like going from year 1 to year 2? And when we get a chance to see it, what does Brock Purdy look like going from year 1 to year 2? What does Trey Lance look like going from year 2 to year 3? We have our top tier best players in the league, and we got a lot of them. But we also got that nice young mix of first, second, and third year players, all at different levels of development, that could all come in and completely knock your socks off with how much they've improved. Aaron Banks, year 2 to year 3. Spencer Burford, year 1 to year 2. The steps in development could be dramatic. Like Aaron Banks, I expect him to take a massive jump. Spencer Burford, I expect him to take a massive jump. These guys should be improving and getting better. And those are, for me, my favorite things that I love to watch at training camp, because I got the baseline. We got the baseline from last year's training camp. We got the baseline from last year's season. We know we've identified what they're good at. We've identified where they need work. And so now what we see, did they attack what they needed to work on? Or did they maybe attack what they're already good at and just improve on that and get even better? So that's why I like training camp. I'm a big developmental guy. I like watching the process. I'm a big fan of the process of watching these guys improve, or unfortunately, sometimes they don't. Ambry Thomas is a guy last year from year 1 to year 2 took steps backwards, right? It happens. It's going to happen. Um, Hopefully, it's not the case, but it's a part of it. Some guys regress, some guys don't. So we're going to have to find out. But absolutely, watching the young guys is one of my favorite things. Just being able to identify, like, is this guy for real? Again, I've told my story about watching Talanoa Hufanga as a rookie and just being like, yeah, this dude has it. Like, again, I had questions of Talanoa Hufanga's speed on tape at USC, but when you saw him in person and get that opportunity to run with the ones, I was like, yeah, Talanoa, the instincts are there for a rookie. So, and Talanoa can get better. Talanoa can improve just for the simple fact that he's year 2 player heading into year 3. The game can slow down for him. He could put himself in even better positioning. Talanoa has an opportunity to like withstand like where Talanoa is. If he can continue to build on where he is at, Talanoa can put himself in the upper echelon of safeties for his entire career, and that's pretty special. So super again. I'm a sucker for watching these first, second, third year players and watching the process and the development. Exactly. We're hyped for these boys on the interior. Definitely looking forward to that. 1v1 Burford versus Hargrave. I'm really looking forward to Banks versus Hargrave, because I think Banks is a pretty solid pass protector, and Hargrave is a very talented pass rusher from the interior. And being able to watch those two bulls go at it in training, let's go. What's up with Poe? I think Poe's fine, man. I think Poe's chilling. He was scout team player of the year for the offense last year. Um, he has a good shot at taking that step forward as well, year 1 to year 2. If Poe's interesting, because if Poe comes out and takes those steps forward, can he challenge someone for a depth spot? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe. So, Going to be fascinating to see. Michael says, totally agree on the 3-year development. It happens in other careers as well. Like it happens in everything in life, right, man? You're either getting better, you're getting worse. How do you continue to improve? How do you keep stacking? How do you keep taking your game to the next level? Exactly. Happens all the time. If Kinlaw shows up and plays well, would you try to keep him or let him walk? Uh, this year, I mean, if Kinlaw shows up and he can maintain his health for the entire season and he provides a quality role, I don't see why you wouldn't bring him back. You could probably get him on somewhat of a discount because of his past, and because I think in that process, they might be able to be like, listen, we're gonna get you on a contract extension, but it could be an opportunity to get Kinlaw at a team friendly deal, obviously a deal that works for Kinlaw as well, maybe based on playing time, so he can hit incentives to raise the price of the deal. I would have zero problem with that, because I don't think Kinlaw's problem is ability. I know he got completely cooked online for what he did in the NFC Championship game, but what isn't talked about enough is how he improved in that game. He had a sequence where he had like 2 stops in a row, like in the third quarter, where he wasn't getting all that was made about getting dominated on doubles. He stopped. Like he figured out the leverage he needed to play. He made the in-game correction and it stopped happening. So that's all it was. And Eric Armstead even talked about that. It was just a technique thing. He wasn't playing the proper technique and he was getting blown off the ball, and then he corrected it and then he started making plays. And so no one talks about that. It's not popular to talk about that. Um, but it happened. So I still have faith in Kinlaw. What the future holds, we'll find out. but I still got faith that Kinlaw can definitely play a part on this team. Kurt says, I bet we come out of camp not being able to keep Jair Brown off the field. I would take that bet for sure. Like, I think Jair Brown's going to force his way onto the field. Gipp is a good player. Gipp's veteran leadership, the way he communicates from everything that we've heard on the back end, phenomenal job. I mean, he beat out Jimmy Ward for the job. But Jair Brown's going to make his way on the field for sure. And they're gonna have a hard time keeping him off. They love Jair. That boy is going to be quality player for the 49ers. He's a guy that I'm looking forward to. And what is going to be interesting is because Talanoa Hufanga's rookie season at training camp is still kind of burned into my brain. How does Jair stack against like what I recall the Talanoa Hufanga's rookie season? How do they compare? Because I came away very impressed with Talanoa as a 5th rounder. Jair Brown as a 3rd rounder. Definitely, I think Jair has some quality traits and instincts as well. Very physical and built the right way. So definitely looking forward to it. Mumbo says, rooting for Jalen Hurd and Jimmy G, not the Raiders. Dude, I don't know what's going to happen with the Raiders and Jimmy G. There's still a lot of conversations about, is Jimmy G going to even play for the Raiders next year? I don't know. But I don't know. I don't know. Of course, like, I don't really care. I don't want Jimmy to crash and burn with the Raiders. But I don't think I have too much of a preference of, whether or not it's just such a weird tenure with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's just been weird with the whole quarterback situation since the jump, man. Like, it has been exhausting talking about the 49ers quarterbacks. So shout out to Jimmy. I can't focus on Jimmy. I gotta focus on the 4-headed monster at quarterback for the 49ers. But yeah, Jalen Hurd gets a shot. Would love to see that. Jimmy G, I hope he's able to play. But I don't like the Raiders all that much. So we'll see. Whatever. I'm more of the whatever with Jimmy Garoppolo. Whatever happens. But hey, we'll see. Joey says, I think Robert Beal and D Winters can legit compete for solid depth spots. Yeah, I do think they could. Beal's going to be interesting to see if he can be a situational pass rusher. Obviously, you have Drake Jackson. I still believe Eric Armstead will be used as an edge this year. It's not confirmed yet. We don't know. Primarily the last couple of years, he's been used as an interior defensive lineman. I do think Eric Armstead will play more edge this year with the addition of Javon Hargrave. But again, the 49ers keep a stacked D-line at all times. Maybe Robert Beal plays what's his name? Oh, how can I forget his name? He had I know the chat's going to help me out. He had the block on the Tundra turnover. Jordan Willis. I helped myself out. There we go. He could play in the Jordan Willis role. That's kind of where Robert Beal could play. Maybe even Spencer Owaji. He could be kind of that Jordan Willis role where you play a couple snaps every game, primarily a special teamer, gets a couple opportunities a game to rush off the edge. I wouldn't say would be like a big time rotational guy, but occasional rotational guy. And Jordan Willis had great, it was a really quality player for when we needed him. So Robert Beal could absolutely be that. D Winters versus Marcelino McCrary-Ball. Get your popcorn ready. I'm hyped on Marcelino, man. I don't know if you saw those recent photos that he posted. I will pull them up so we can look at Marcelino. Dude, Marcelino is yoked. And a guy heading into year two, kind of obviously understanding what it is, understanding the league, his role within the defense. I am super hyped for Marcelino McCrary-Ball, man. Um, he just looks mean. Let me make this a little bigger. Marcelino, man, looks like a guy who is built to play linebacker at this level. He proved in preseason and training camp that he could absolutely play at this level. And I just imagine he's going to take those steps from year one to year two. I'm hyped on Marcelino McCrary-Ball. He's one of the guys that I got at the top of my watch list. I want to see what he's looking like. Because really, I think this is Oren Burks' job. And I think, he's a veteran. He is one of the more, assignment sound players probably on that entire defense. Oren Burks is going to have absolutely every opportunity to take hold of that Azeez Al-Shaair role. I mean, he took it over when Azeez went down for a couple games, and he's filled that role, and he's done a good job. So I expect Oren Burks to fill that. But one of the guys that I have putting pressure on Oren is this guy. I think Marcelino McCrary-Ball has an opportunity to just go crazy next year. I think he's made of the right stuff. I think he has the tools. Absolutely, I'm ready, man. Is this where we officially declare the Marcelino McCrary-Ball hive is buzzing? Because I think it is. I think it is. Yes, this is the Marcelino hive right here. Feel free to hop on. Feel free to join. We had the Jordan Mason hive last year. Again, shout out Justin. He put us on alert after the 49ers signed him. And then once we got into training camp, it was absolutely apparent that Jordan Mason was a guy. The hive was buzzing, and we let you know the hive was buzzing, and it was for real. And guess what Jordan Mason did? He beat out Jermichael Hasty, and he beat out Trey Sermon as an undrafted free agent. And Jermichael Hasty was having a phenomenal camp. That is not to go. You can't forget about that when talking about Jordan Mason. Jermichael Hasty was having a phenomenal camp. He looked great. Jordan Mason beat him out as an undrafted free agent. This guy has an opportunity to make the 49ers make some really tough decisions. So join I guess we can officially call it the Marcelino McCrary-Ball. The MMB hive is officially buzzing. So make sure you join that. Make sure you join our Discord. Shout out to Chili, newest member of the Mod Squad. Make sure you tap in with our Discord. He runs, the Discord that he's cooking out here is phenomenal. So make sure you tap into that. Make sure you tap into the MMB hive, because the MMB hive, we out here cooking, baby. Yes, he's for real, bro. He's more cut up than Dre Greenlaw right now. Like, it's not even up for debate. We saw these guys back to back boxing, and this dude's cut. Yeah, so get ready. Get ready, baby. Marcelino, hype train, get on board. Again, we have a pretty good track record when it comes to the buzzing. So we're buzzing on Marcelino. I was thinking, that's funny. The Brian Burns hive, it will always be buzzing. He's going to always be one of my favorite players. Doesn't matter. But I saw the report that they're like working on a contract extension. The second that Brian Burns gets the contract extension, the dream dies. I mean, we know that it was the longest of long shots always, but the dream of getting Bosa and Burns on the same line, just it was a dream that I'm holding on to as long as I can. The second Brian Burns gets his contract with the Carolina Panthers, I think the dream, we can officially put it to rest. But the hive, the BB hive, always be buzzing. Have we heard anything about Cleveland recently? No, but I've been watching Cleveland work out all offseason. Cleveland has been putting in work. He has been working out with Eric Armstead's group. So Eric Armstead and DeForest Buckner, they work out with this one particular defensive line coach every year. Brian Burns actually used to work out with them. I didn't see Brian Burns this year with them. But Cleveland has been working out with them for his entire career in the NFL. Austin Bryant, also 49ers defensive end, looks like a wide receiver, has been working with them as well. So I've been watching Cleveland Farrell work all offseason. And same as Austin Bryant, same as Eric Armstead, because they're all working out with the same guy. But Cleveland's putting in work, man. He's posting a lot, and he's been putting in work. And again, I don't think Cleveland is a guy you want to sleep on. People call him a bust because he was drafted 4th overall. He should have never been drafted 4th overall. I liked Cleveland coming out of Clemson, but one of my things was he wasn't a prototypical edge rusher, and he shouldn't have been the 4th overall pick. That was a bad decision by the Raiders. I know why they did it. They looked at him as a foundational like piece of a new regime who would be a leader. That's one of the things that's really great about him is he's a leader. When talking about Cleveland, that was one of my favorite attributes about him at Clemson. He had that leadership intangible, but the thing with Cleveland was he was never a prototypical edge rusher. And I don't think unless you're like, he reminds me of like Solly a little bit. Like they wanted him to be that prototypical edge rusher, but he wasn't the prototypical edge rusher. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't mean he's not talented. Doesn't mean Solly wasn't talented. Just felt like they played him out of position. So Cleveland, like I said, he's a guy I've been watching all offseason. I have high expectations for Cleveland. And when I say high expectations, I think higher than what most people are expecting, because I think people see Cleveland, they see former 4th round draft pick, they see a bust with the Raiders. Let's be honest, Raiders don't do a great job of developing talent all that often. But I do think Cleveland has an opportunity, especially with Chris Kocurek, to come in and be able to step in and play that kind of Charles Omenihu role. So he's definitely a guy that you can see he's working. He's working. He can also drop into coverage. I think that's another thing that Steve Wilkes can use to his advantage. So I'm not sleeping on Cleveland at all, for sure. Yes, bring me in. Again, I've said this before. Give me 10 minutes on the phone. Give me 5 minutes. Just give me a shot to give me Jed York's blessing. Give me John and Kyle's blessing to just have a conversation with Fritterer. Again, I remember, dude, was at the combine and I was walking out to go to the bathroom. I was at the stadium and I opened the gate for Scott Fitterer, the Panthers GM. He looked me dead in the eye. He's like, "Thank you." And I was like, "I know exactly who you are. Trade me Brian Burns." I was like, telepathically. It's like, "Trade me Brian Burns." Literally, what? That's how crazy I am. Like the fact that I'm standing face to face with the Panthers GM, looking him dead in the eye. He says, "Thank you" to me, and my brain goes, "Trade me Brian Burns." I'm a psychopath. But it was him. It was Frank Reich walked by, Panthers head coach. Josh McCown walked by. They had their whole little brain trust because they were there scouting the quarterbacks. But that was so funny. I opened up the gate for Scott Fitterer, looked him dead in the eye, and telepathically said, "Trade me Brian Burns." I got problems, people, but just give me 5 minutes on the phone. Maybe I can convince him. Maybe I can do it. I don't know. We'll see. Um, we'll see. I think this year's JP is Deshaun Jameson or Laborn. Don't sleep on Deshaun Jameson, man. Especially if like Luter or all it takes is one little injury, or let's say Ambry Thomas not playing to what the expectation is. Deshaun Jameson could be a sneaky guy to definitely watch out for. He has special teams return ability. He is fast. Talk about athlete. He's an athlete, and that goes far at this level. But again, he has experience as well coming out of Texas. Don't sleep. I wouldn't sleep either. I think that's a good call. Yeah, this literally happened. It literally happened, and it was just unprompted. Wasn't even like I consciously was like, "Yeah, let's trade." It just happened. That's where my brain's at. But I guess I'm in the right line of business, right? That I'm that much of a lunatic that I straight up tried to Professor X Brian Burns trade with the Panthers GM. Hey, you got to try, right? Yes, Jair is going to get a lot of snaps this year. It's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. Obviously, it's a little bit of TBD because we don't know exactly what Steve Wilks is going to be doing with this defense, but I would imagine that we're going to see a lot of Jair Brown again. Ponce said, I forget who he talked to. He talked to someone in the know. I can't remember if it was Jair himself, but said that the 49ers are going to be running more three safety sets. So I really think, see, that's the thing. It's like, I know we're talking a lot about who's going to replace Aziz, but it might be more of a situation of like, we might see Greenlaw and Warner on the field nonstop, but we're seeing more Isaiah Oliver, Jair Brown before Oren Burks or Marcelino or D Winters. So there's an example that exists where we're playing less. I don't know. I can't remember if Dre plays Sam linebacker or the Will linebacker spot. But whoever is the opposite of Dre, they might take a step back in snaps because instead of dropping three linebackers onto the field, think about it. Like, what if you had Talanoa and Gibson on the back end, two safeties high, and then you drop Jair Brown kind of as a floating safety around the line of scrimmage? Or you take Jair Brown, you feel comfortable with his athletic profile, and you swap Jair to play at the top, and you kick Hufanga down to kind of play around the line of scrimmage where he plays really well and is really able to use his instincts. And he could play all different kinds of spots. They could rotate these safeties. They could end up bringing Gip down, and then they rotate Talanoa over, and Jair goes up. Like, they could do so many different things with kind of like a 4-2, 4 defensive linemen, two linebackers. Would it be like a 4-2-5? Right? It'd be a 4-2-5. So they run out 5 DBs, right? Instead of a 4-3. You do go 4-2-5. They can do whatever they want, man. They can do whatever they want. That's what the beauty of having these quality talents at nickel, at safety, and at linebacker is that they can get real creative with what they do. And you have Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner, the best cover linebacker duo in the NFL. They can cover a lot of ground in coverage, and it can allow you to be super flexible to bring guys down, push guys back up, and just play with offenses, play with their rules. Like what Kyle does. Kyle picks on the defense's rules. You have the athletic ability from your linebackers and DBs that you can just rotate these guys. You can drop Fred Warner into the middle third of the field. You can have Fred Warner theoretically playing like a single high safety if you're really trying to test an offense's rules and trying to really muddy it up. You could do all these different types of things. We'll see. We'll see, though. I'm just excited. I'm excited to get the football in front of the eyes, be able to watch it, and talk about it and evaluate it. That's my favorite thing. That's how this whole journey started for me. I had no idea what it would entail, but like when I stopped playing football, I was like, I want to be a scout. I had no idea what being a scout was. I just knew I could evaluate talent. I didn't know, like I had zero connections. I didn't know how to even begin. Like, how do you get into scouting? Like, I have no idea. So again, this is how this whole journey started for me. The whole like rationale behind me now talking about the San Francisco 49ers 24/7, it all started as me wanting to be a talent evaluator. Back in 2010, 2011. I think back then I was going to the Academy of Art University in San Francisco and I was doing multimedia communications, but I loved football. I wanted to do something in football and I wanted to evaluate football. So that's why this time of the year is fun. I don't like talking about, I really don't like talking about like all these hypothetical, coming up with topics and like trying to like, bleh. Like I want to watch football. I want to evaluate players. I want to, that's what I want to do. So that's why I love training camp, because nothing else matters than evaluating what you see on the field. And I have the utmost confidence in my ability to evaluate. Now, I'm not right. No one is ever going to be right on evaluations 100% of the time. Like we know, like look at these GM hit rates in the draft. Like you're never going to be 100%. But I feel I have the utmost confidence in my ability to evaluate talent, to be able to understand what I'm seeing, and that's why I'm so excited about getting to training camp and just talking about football, talking about what I see, talking about rotations, talking about who's doing what out there. And I can't wait because we can put all the BS. This has been the biggest BS. We've had a lot of BS off seasons, but something about the quarterback being involved just makes it triple the BS because everyone wants to talk about it nonstop. So I'm super excited. Super excited for it all. And this is going to be the last Friday that we have prior to, I mean, there's going to be there's going to be a week between preseason and the regular season that we have no football, but we know what's coming. That we're waiting for the regular season. We are going to get football. We are going to get football next week, and I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Going to be a good time. I can't wait to get my eyes on everything. And I still have to get my hands on a couple tickets. But I'm looking forward to it. It does. It feels like Christmas. It feels like a brand new day. I can't wait. Good times. Good times. We made it, guys. Congratulations. You deserve a round of applause. If you guys somehow stuck with me throughout this entire off season, congratulations to you. Bravo. You guys deserve a whole batch of cookies for sticking out this entire off season with me. Shout out to you guys. Y'all the best. We're going to be working on merch. That's for sure. So stay tuned for that. I'm definitely trying to take the merch game up to another level this year. So I got some things in the works. So stay tuned with that. Got to get the beard. If you want to wear this beard on a shirt or that on a shirt, I got you. I got you. Oh man. No, we got football on Wednesday. We've got football on Wednesday. So I'm excited for it. Oh baby. So probably not going to go live over the weekend. I'm going to enjoy this weekend, okay? I'm going to take this weekend. It's going to be the last weekend without football, and then we're sprinting. It's football season. I'm going full speed. Have to. I got no other option. It's definitely been a wild off season. I've definitely been trying to keep my head above water. It's been a mentally taxing off season for sure, but football is going to make it right, and we're going to have a lot of fun. So looking forward to it. Shout out to all you guys. Grab your cookies on the way out. Hope you guys have a phenomenal weekend. Remember, we're on the eve of a Bosa extension. We're on the eve of Brock Purdy updates. Football is going to start getting real in the next couple days. Take your weekend, enjoy it, spend your times with your families, and we are gonna get after it starting next week. No more messing around, no more playing around. Turn those notifications on. I'm gonna be slinging videos like crazy. Post notifications, follow everywhere that you have social media: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, TikTok, obviously sub on YouTube. Somehow, some way, I'm going to keep you updated and get you fresh content on every platform. Don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. We always do. And we're going to have a phenomenal year. Super Bowl or bust. You know the vibes. Shout out to all the SDS. Thank you all again for 70,000 subs. Absolutely wild. We'll see if we can break 100K this year. My goal is that when the 49ers make the Super Bowl, we get to 100K by the Super Bowl. That's the goal this year. We're manifesting it. We're putting it out into the universe. We're going to get 100K by the Super Bowl because the 49ers will be playing in the Super Bowl. They will be winning that Super Bowl, and we're manifesting it all right now. 100K by Super Bowl week. And you already know we're taking that 6 ring home. It's going to happen. Gonna get after it. All right, guys. I appreciate you all. I'm out of here for now. You have a good weekend. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.